Oh, hold on 1 second, sir. Sure, Scott's right.
Wow. I haven't even seen a lot of these pictures. Where should you get these?
That's fine. So, can you tell me your name, your rank, your job?
My name is Maximus Aurelius. No, I'm kidding. My name is Daniel Krug. I'm a firefighter and a paramedic, and I'm a father of 5, and I have a small farm that I'm learning how to take care of. I was born in Bishop, California, 1976. My daddy wanted to be a fisherman, so at the grand old age of 1, I believe, my family moved to Kodiak, Alaska. He was the captain of a lot of different boats, and we would help as a deckhand and stuff like that. At 5 and 6 years old, I'd be out working on a fishing boat. I used to operate the pulley, or the thing you pulled to open up the big catch to dump all the fish off of the crane. So that was my job. And he paid me an ice cream. In a 12-month time frame, he was gone, and we didn't see him for 9 months. So most of my childhood was my dad gone. I didn't really see him at all. And when he was home, it was incredibly violent and toxic with my mother and my father. My dad was a complicated person. You know, he had his own demons. He dodged the draft and felt really bad about that. And he wanted to make up for that in a lot of ways. He was a brave person, but he also suffered with a lot of addiction when I was younger. We lived in a lot of different houses, you know. For a long time, we lived in a gravel pit in a camper. That's what life was. I never really considered it anything. I know that as a kid, I mean, we were extremely poor. I was made fun of, all the time growing up, having cheap clothes and not having holes in my shoes and having duct tape holding my shoes together. And as a kid, nobody tells you what's right, what's wrong, what's good, what's bad. You just sort of assume that everybody around you is there looking out for you. And the way that we grew up, we didn't really have a lot of direction. I don't remember most of my childhood, almost any of it. And the parts that I do remember are stuff that are painful, because it's not stuff I want to talk about with my family, because there's nothing they can do about it. So it's nothing they can change. What's done is done. My mom didn't know that I was getting raped by my neighbor when I was a kid. She had no idea. I didn't tell her. What was I supposed to tell her? She had her own demons, and my parents did not get along. And my dad used to fake suicide attempts whenever he got mad at my mom. He'd go in the bedroom and he'd say he was going to kill himself, and he'd go shoot the floor. And he did that a lot, you know. Even after my parents split up and I ended up coming down to Oregon, still poor. I was made fun of and mocked. You know, I didn't have any money. And I used to work 40 plus hours a week under the table to help pay the bills. I didn't keep any of the money. And my family suffered. A lot of it was self-imposed. Yeah. When I moved to Portland as a teenager, I worked all the time. I played football, and I did a lot of drugs. I was actually pretty good at football, but I have the same story as a lot of people with a wasted youth, where drugs were more important, and getting high and making poor decisions and living in a way that was reflective of not caring about tomorrow was typically how I lived my life. In my head, I didn't really feel like there was a whole lot to live for. But yeah, I was pretty good at football. I even played football for one term, essentially, in college until I got kicked out of college for bad grades, and I lost my scholarship. It wasn't really offense that I was great at, it was defense, and I was a defensive end, so my favorite thing was hitting people as hard as I could, especially people that thought they were better than me. And I think on a subconscious level, I was definitely running from a whole lot of stuff. I mean, because if there was anything that was true in me, it was the fact that I obviously didn't want to be beaten by anyone else. I mean, that was a painful thread in my life. Like, I would not allow someone to lord over me, period. Which is funny because I joined the military, which is complete subservience for a couple of years. Next thing you know, I'm in boot camp, but next thing you know, I'm like, I don't want to be in the National Guard, I want to be active duty, and next thing you know, I'm at Fort Lewis. I was going through sniper school to, officially be a sniper. I was in a sniper platoon, so I needed to go to sniper school and sniper training, and once I came back, I was an actual sniper, and so it was great. It made life a lot easier on me. I started to feel like a stronger person, more capable. And then the war kicked off, and I basically spent the next 10 years at war. As far as the Army goes, first of all, when you look at 9/11, what happened, everyone that was in the Army trained for war. That's what we did. We trained, we got ready, we prepped, we trained, we did this drill and that drill, and we went to this place and that place, and we trained. So 9/11 happens, and then what? It's an actual war. That's, in a sick, twisted kind of way, that was the military's Super Bowl. Everybody got to finally do what all they've done is practice for. I lost a lot of friends up in Mosul, and I've been through a lot of gunfights and stuff like that. This guy comes up to me who I was a soldier with prior to 9/11, and he's like, I can't wait to get in this shit. And I had already been through a lot at that point. Not only been through a lot, I'd already deadened myself. I'd already gone back to the place I was in my childhood, but even worse, right, in many ways. And I was like, no, you don't. Like, yeah, man. He goes, that's why we're here. And I was like, it's funny. Everybody wants war until war happens. You all think war is great until you actually got to do it. And then what happens? Something blows up, somebody loses a limb, somebody's guts are on your face. You might pull the trigger, you might not. You feel out of control, you piss your pants. People die. And if you happen to live through it, now you have this incredible sense of guilt because why did you make it? Who the fuck wants that? Nobody. I guess the biggest thing I remember is knowing that when you're in a gunfight or when you're getting blown up, after that first second of knowing that I'm not dead and I'm not injured most of the time, that I would start to be just so fucking angry. People were trying to kill us. I just don't feel like people would do that if they could just sit down and talk. That's what I remember.
Was there a reason, like an incident, something where you decided this was enough?
No. Over there was no reason. I loved that. I didn't want to leave. I would have stayed there forever, but I had had a daughter through an interesting series of events, but you can all figure out how it happened. But I had a daughter, and she was over here. She was in Oregon, and I realized I couldn't be a dad to her and also be carrying a gun in Iraq at the same time. So I had to make a choice, and my choice was to try to be a dad. I mean, the Army gave me tools, and in some ways it gave me a sense of worth. But the ability to accept love and love myself didn't come for a long time. And going to war didn't make that any better, made it worse. It took getting married to Trina to figure that out. I don't know that I would be able to pick myself up if I did not have them. My family, my wife, my son, my daughter, my older boys. Without them, I don't know what I would be. It's through their love and through their compassion that I have been able to pick myself up. So, if I were to be scared of something, it would be losing my connection to them in any way. My son asked me about being over there and what it was like and what it meant. And it's kind of hard to explain to anyone what being a warrior is in that capacity. And so to Ronan, I just told him, I wrote this story about giants. And I wrote it for my friends, and it's about how this world creates these giants in order to send them off to guard the gates. But then when the giants are done, nobody wants the giants. They're too big, they break things, they can't fit. They loved the giants when they were guarding the gates, but nobody wants them back. And that's what happens to a lot of people when they go through that stuff. They make giants and then they say, okay, don't be a giant anymore. How do you do that? You took away their purpose and then you expected them to be fine. And now they kill themselves. And suddenly you're surprised? That's society. That's what our America does. And it has happened a lot. It happens a lot. November 2013, I was on probation at the fire department I worked for, and my wife had just had our son. He's only a month old. And I was about to be fired from the department, because of a myriad of issues. It wasn't about me doing my job, but I was, by all standards, a very good paramedic and a very good firefighter. But I was direct, blunt, untactful, constantly trying to push. And I had learned in my life up to that point that whenever you felt stress, you tilted and you leaned into it. You just fought back. And so that's what I was doing. But I didn't feel like I was a good enough person for my wife and for my child, and I didn't feel like I was serving them in the way I could, and I didn't feel like I was going to keep my job. So I drove out to the country and grabbed my pistol and stuck it in my mouth and pulled the trigger. And it just went click. And I didn't forget to chamber a fucking round. I didn't forget to do anything. I did it. And I racked the slide and I pulled around out and I look and there it was, a dent in the primer. And I'm glad it didn't work, because especially for my son. But as far as why I did it is because I needed that purpose and I didn't have it. And since that moment, I've learned that purpose is only one reason to live. It's not the reason to live. I still have purpose anyways. I still do. I mean, I have it for my family. I have it for my friends. I have it for people that come to me in this place right here. They need purpose. I give it to them. So armored combat isn't about fighting. It's not about war. It's not about beating people up. It's about people being together. It's about standing next to somebody and fighting with them. With them. And even the guys that you're fighting against, you walk over and you help them up afterwards and you hug each other. You get to suffer together. Iron sharpens iron. And the truth in that statement is that in order for iron to sharpen iron, they both have to be weak. Meaning both pieces of metal have to fail. And you press them against each other and then they sharpen each other. And that's the point of armored combat. It's failing together, suffering together, and then getting back up together. I guess what I've come to realize is that everything you feel is a decision. It's all within your control. And that's the difference between me now and me pre-gun in my mouth. Is that what you feel is a choice. Sometimes it may not feel like a choice, but it's always a choice. How you decide to go through this world is completely up to you.
You need to write a book, my man.
Or a couple.
What do you want to be remembered for? What do you want your son to say about you someday?
My son Ronan has a very special place in my heart. He's a powerful soul. You know, if you ask my son the sentence, if you ask him, what is being scared? He will answer, a chance to be brave. All it takes to be brave is being scared. That's it. It doesn't take anything else. It doesn't take a grand moment. It doesn't take life-threatening circumstances. It just takes having fear in your heart. That's it. And then you have a chance to be brave. I guess I would want Ronan to remember me someday down the road, that my dad, me, that I lived my life with kindness. That I put myself aside for the love and the empathy that is needed to help other people, especially him, especially my wife. I just want him to remember that his dad lived his life in a way that was in service to other people. And maybe he'll choose to do that.
draw names in the stars. Take time, push the clouds away, watch the sun go down again. The sky tells us who we are. It won't let us die afraid. We make the same mistakes. You better find your sense of wonder. Won't let us die afraid. We make the same mistakes. You better find. It won't let us die. Won't let us die.